everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am back with a monthly budget closeout, our recap for September. I can't believe September has come to an end, but I am really happy with our progress for this month and I cannot wait to share it with you. So just reflecting on the month of September a little bit, we will be increasing our grocery budget going forward. So if you haven't watched our October budget with me video, I will link it in the cards above as well as in the description below if you want to go watch that video. But going forward, we will be increasing our grocery budget. You'll see we did go over a little bit in groceries, but with the new budget, I'm feeling really good about that. So I definitely think that was a good move for us. We did have a side hustle focus on the month of September, so we did generate a lot more side hustle income than we typically do, which was awesome and definitely helped us pay a larger payment to debt this month. And then also we did have a lot of medical bills pop up. And I did want to just address this because these are things that you're not going to see coming out of our budget, but they're things that are happening behind the scenes. And I think it's important to talk about because I don't really talk about our HSA a lot. We do have a high deductible health plan and we have an HSA. So what an HSA is a health savings account. It is where we are able to put pre-tax dollars. It comes directly from our paychecks. And so we have that coming out every single month pre what you guys are seeing for our income. So that is a part of the story as well. So I just wanted to share that. We did have a lot of medical bills coming up this month because if you have followed me for a little while, I am 22 weeks pregnant, almost 23 weeks pregnant when you're watching this. So I have had a lot of appointments. I had ultrasounds since we have a high deductible. We have not met our deductible for the year yet. So we are paying primarily those costs out of pocket still. A lot of those bills came out. However, we do have that HSA, so they directly came from there. So I just wanted to share that in our little recap because I feel like it is important to talk about that because it is something that's happening and I want you guys to know like behind the scenes kind of things that are happening as well. I did get a question on my October budget with me, which I feel like was a really good question and something I haven't addressed as well. What is W-2 and why do I write it? So I think I explained this like in the beginning of me doing budget videos, but that was like 10 months ago when I posted my first budget with me. So W-2 is just what I call like my husband and I's regular income. I just total our income together just for ease, honestly, of writing it. And I write W-2 because that is the fastest thing that I can write. So I hope that makes sense. I just use W-2 because I view it as like W-2 income. It's our regular income that is from our employers. So that is why I write that. I thought that was a great question and something that I hadn't even thought of addressing. So thank you so much for whoever asked that question. Our W-2 are our regular income for the month of September. We budgeted $7,000. We did have a little bit of extra income in the month of September in the amount of $250. So our actual income from our regular jobs was $7,250. So that was an increase of $250 from what we had originally budgeted. If you haven't watched my September budget with me video, I will link it in the cards as well so that you can check that video out. That just gives like from our original budget, all these numbers and kind of gives you a better idea of what we had originally budgeted. And now we are just closing it out with our actual income. So next we have the child tax credit. I know a lot of people had issues with the child tax credit this month. Luckily, we were not affected by that, so we did just get the $550. If you were affected by that, I'm so sorry. I know a friend of mine, she got like a really random amount of money, which was not correct, and I just felt for her because I feel like that would be very frustrating to deal with. Then our side hustle income. So this is something that I don't factor in to our regular budget because you know, every single month it's different and it's money that we don't ever like count on necessarily for our budget. So for the month of September, like I said, we were very focused on side hustle income. So we did receive $667 in side hustle income. If you want to know what that's from exactly, I break it down every single month in our monthly debt recap. I will link that video above if you want to see what that side hustle income is all from. So that brings us to a total income for the month of September of $8,467. So we had a little bit of extra income to work with, which was awesome. Like I said, we really focused on side hustles this month because I wanted to make sure that we could put as much extra to debt as possible. If you've followed me for a while, we are on a journey to repay 6 figures worth of student loan debt. So we have a lot of debt to repay. Luckily, we have gotten it down significantly since, and we are only at about 21,000, but I am really trying to end this year strong. So huge focus for the rest of the year will just be as much money to debt as possible. First category we have are our fixed expenses. So that first expense is our mortgage. That was budgeted in the amount of $1,284, and we had $1,284 come out. So no difference there, and that was 15.2% of our income. I did get a question on my last budget recap as well, like what is this percentage of income based on? So it is based on the total income. So that this number is feeding from this total income, not just from our W-2 income. So 15.2% of our total income went to our mortgage. Then we do have our cell phones for both my husband and I. That was $140, and we budgeted $140, no change there. These are all bills that tend to pretty much be the same. So that was 1.7% of our income going to cell phones. Netflix, budgeted 15, actual was 15. I do round these numbers as well, you guys, just so you know. It's not like exactly $15 that's coming out. I think it's like $14.47 or something. I don't even know what Netflix costs nowadays. I feel like it just went up pretty recently. And I don't even know what plan we have anymore. I'm not sure. We have like one of the mid-range plans. So we do have a Peloton bike, so that is $41 a month, no change there, and that was 0.5% of our income for the month. We have our internet, which I know I mentioned last budget closeout, and I think the last budget with me as well, that this is probably going to be going up unless we can call and finagle them to let us keep it at the same price. We will be working on that in the next few months, or we might possibly switch again. Kind of waiting to see. It's too early to call yet because I think it expires in December. So I'm going to wait till probably next month and just see if there is anything that we can do to get it lower or possibly move to a different provider. Unfortunately, we live pretty rurally, so we don't have a lot of options for internet. We pretty much have two options, and we've used both of them. So I don't know that there is a way that we can get it down, but we'll kind of see. I think if we aren't able to get it down, I think it'll go up to like $75. I'm not a fan of that, but it might have to happen. We'll kind of see. We had preschool, so my daughter is in a part-time preschool program right now. She started it this month in September. So for the first month, it was $496, and that was exactly what we had expected. It will be increasing in the future because they did have their new like 2021, 2022 rates come out for the fall. So that will increase a little bit in the next month. So that was 5.9% of our income for preschool. Then my husband and I celebrated our wedding anniversary. We had budgeted $150. I knew that that was probably more than we were actually going to spend, and sure enough, we only spent $26. And you may be asking, what did you spend $26 on? My husband coaches my son's baseball team, and he actually had a gift card for the restaurant that we ended up going to. So we basically used the gift card, and then this was like the tip. So it was really nice. We very generously tipped because it was an awesome experience. I have so much appreciation for people in the restaurant industry. My husband and I both have worked in the restaurant industry for many years. I no longer work in the restaurant industry, but that's where I met my husband. So I always try, like when we go out to dinner, tip very well. So we had a gift card, we tipped on top of that, and then that is basically what it was. So that gave us an extra $126 in our budget, which was awesome. Super excited about that. And it wasn't like a super fancy restaurant or anything. We just went to like lunch because the struggle is real when you don't have family that live near you. We weren't able to like go do a date night or anything. So basically we went to lunch in the middle of the day while both of our kids were at school. But it was still really fun and super excited that we set aside some money to be able to do something. Kind of debated like if we wanted to buy anything, but honestly, we just want this debt to be gone so bad that we're willing to sacrifice $126 of money that we could have spent on ourselves to just put it to debt. Our next expense is our electric bill. So I always budget $200-ish, And these next few months are the months where we typically have the lowest expenses for our electric, because I live in the Midwest, if you're new here. And this time of year is like perfect weather for us. We don't have to use the heat or the air conditioning right now. I leave my door open. It's fantastic. So our bill for, this is actually for August, is, let me see here, $182. So that was a little bit under budget as well, which was awesome. And that was at 2.1% of our income. Next up, we had our spending. So my husband and I both get just a little bit of spending money. We budget $100 between the two of us, and we always do $100. So that pretty much never changes. And that is at 1.2%. Then our gas, we bumped this up to $125 a few months ago. And it's been good, but I actually only used 98. So I probably should have filled up before closing the month out. So we might just have a little bit more spending next month, but that's okay. Just still haven't been driving a lot, honestly. So yeah, it's been really nice to not have to spend a ton of money on gas these last couple of years. We used to spend probably double this at least, if not more. Since I've been working from home full time, we just haven't had to use as much gas, which is great. And then we have groceries. So I know I mentioned in the beginning of the video that we have decided to increase our grocery budget for the month of October and moving forward. So we did have a budget this month initially of $500, and we spent $536. So obviously we went a little bit over, but that's okay, because going forward, we're going to increase it. Honestly, you guys, I was like really getting mad at myself these last few months because we've consistently gone over budget in our grocery category. I think for the last like 5 months, honestly. I don't even know. I would have to look back at my monthly budget closeouts, but I feel like we have consistently gone over groceries. And I just realized like we're not like frivolously spending our grocery money. We genuinely just need to spend more money. So we have decided to increase it to $550. Obviously, if we would have done that this month, we would have been under budget, but that is okay. It is a learning curve. And like I always say, even though we've been budgeting consistently for many years now, there are still mistakes that I make, and there are still changes that I have to make every once in a while. If there is an area of your budget that you are consistently going over budget, you might want to think of increasing it. This is what we did for the month of October going forward. And I feel like it's something I fought for a long time and just realized, you know what, I just need to do it and get over it, because I'm not going to stick to $500 anymore. It's just not possible for a family of 4 right now in my area. Prices have skyrocketed on groceries everywhere. So our MISC budget, we always budget $200 for miscellaneous. So this is anything that is honestly just not in any of these other categories. So this could be things for our kids. It could be clothing, anything that we don't have in any other budgets. This month, we spent $168 from our MISC category, which was under budget, which was awesome. We are typically like pretty close to this budget, but we got back $32 from that category, and that was at 2% of our income. Dining out, this is such a struggle for us, and I know like I talked to so many of you guys that this is a struggle for you too, so I so appreciate the realness in this community about it. We did spend $213, which is like technically over budget, but whatever, it's $13. I'm not worried about it. I wouldn't even really consider that over budget, to be honest, because, you know, you can't be perfect. Like when we have a family of 4, it costs us a decent amount of money to eat out, even at like McDonald's or like Chick-fil-A, so that's okay. A little bit over budget in that category. That is, I think, a category we will be bumping up a little bit, like maybe $50 once we're debt free, just to give us a little bit more freedom in that category. That is always a struggle for us, like very much. Next, we have our sinking funds. So we have 5 sinking funds right now that we fund every month. We have car, kids, home, vacation, and Christmas. So we had budgeted $50 for car, $50 for kids, $100 for home, $100 for vacation, and $50 for Christmas. And we had sent all of that to our sinking funds, so no changes to this. I've been using some of our sinking funds these last couple months. I have actually already kind of started to like slowly Christmas shop. That is something that I pretty much do every single year. And that's another reason why I just love to have a Christmas sinking fund, because it allows me to get started Christmas shopping whenever I want. And I know that the money is there for me to use. So I really just so highly recommend having a Christmas sinking fund if you don't already. It's such a good feeling when you want to, like, say, when you want to start your Christmas shopping in October or November or December or whenever you Christmas shop, just knowing that that money is there for you is a really good feeling. So I have started to slowly get a few items for Christmas for my family, for my kids. I also have heard that there might be some like shortage issues, and I know I have had a lot of shipping issues lately with some of the things that I have ordered. So yes, I feel like getting a head start this year is not a bad idea. And the last thing that we have to talk about is our debt payments. So if you watched our September debt recap, then you know we paid $4,750 to debt. Wow. So that was at 56.1% of our income. So if you've been around here for a while, you know that we do try to send at least 50% of our income to debt. So any excess income that we receive from side hustles, that 100% goes to debt. So the more side hustle income we receive every single month, the higher this percentage will be, because obviously that goes skewed to all debt. So it kind of like skews the percentage a little bit. $4,750 to debt in September. I can't wait to be done with this debt, you guys. It is such a weight and it takes up such a huge part of our budget. It's like just wild. So little recap at the bottom. So again, our total income was $8,467. Our total expenses, so all of this stuff that we spent out of our account this month, was $8,459, which leaves us with a positive difference of $8. So with that money, we just leave it in our checking account as part of our buffer. Our buffer tends to be anywhere from like $400 to $600. I do round our budget in our actual budget, so there is always like little bit of change that's kind of accumulating every single month. So our cushion tends to flux between like $400 to $600. I honestly don't even know what it is right now. I don't like track it necessarily. It's just a cushion that we leave in there so that we're not like, in case one of these things were to come out early, which we've totally had happen before, or something needs to come out that we didn't plan for, it just gives us a little bit of room in our budget so we're not like strictly budgeting every single penny. That is all I have for the month of September. Super proud of us this month. We pretty much nailed the budget this month. I feel like we didn't overspend in a lot of categories, and I feel like we just really buckled down. And honestly, having a side hustle focus for the month was really helpful for me to stay on budget, because when you're out there working hard for money, you're not wanting to spend it on eating out as much as I feel like I would if I wasn't. That's just kind of something that I feel like helped us this month. So excited to see how October goes. Make sure you stay tuned for my next video on Friday, and I will talk to you then. Bye, guys.